Good evening and welcome back. What you just watched was not just another tense exchange in a confirmation hearing, it was a revealing moment about power, accountability, and the unresolved shadow of the 2020 election. If you care about how justice is supposed to work in America, this is one of those moments worth slowing down and understanding.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Before I begin, I just want to remind us all for the record that the 34 convictions, not indictments, convictions of former President, incoming President Trump were by a jury of his peers. Thank you, Ms. Bondi, for being here today, and I too would like to welcome your family and friends who are here.
Thank you.
Appreciated the opportunity to meet yesterday to learn about your priorities and discuss a number of issues that are important to me. But I got to tell you, as I reflected on our conversation yesterday and as I've observed the hearing today, I continue to have significant reservations on your ability to function as a truly independent Attorney General for your friend. Let's say you keep referring to him, your friend, President-elect Trump. So I hope you can address some of these concerns through your responses to my questions here. Now, the first issue area is something that we didn't get a chance to touch on yesterday. So I actually want to follow up on some of Senator Durbin's questions from earlier about the 2020 election. And to be specific, on the day after the 2020 presidential general election, you traveled to Philadelphia to appear alongside President Trump's then attorney, Rudy Giuliani. And together, you falsely asserted that President Trump had, quote, won Pennsylvania in that election. Now, I want to be clear, at that moment, there were still at least 1 million ballots left to be counted in Pennsylvania. Of course, President Biden went on to win the state by more than 80,000 votes. But in the following days, even after the results were clear, you continued to double down on the big lie, promoting falsehoods about election fraud and cheating without offering any actual evidence. And I remember it clearly because I served as California Secretary of State at the time, and I invited anybody associated with the Trump campaign who was making these claims to come forward with evidence of irregularities in the election or massive voter fraud. 4 years later, I still have seen none. So I ask you today, do you have any evidence of election fraud or irregularities in the 2020 election?
So, First Senator.
Yes or no? It's a yes or no question.
First Senator.
Do you have evidence, yes or no?
First Senator. I'm so sorry about the fires to you and Senator Schiff and what you're going through in your states. I have to say that.
I appreciate
think
that,
all
but
of
my
our,
clock is
I'll
ticking
answer
and I
your
want to
question.
hear
All of our
your answer.
hearts go out to everyone in California for what you're facing right now. I'm glad you asked the question about Pennsylvania.
It's a yes or no question. Do you have evidence, yes or no?
Senator, I was hoping you'd ask the question.
Do you have evidence, yes or no?
I traveled to Pennsylvania.
Do you have the evidence, yes or no?
Senator, to Pennsylvania.
Okay, you're not answering my question. If you have no evidence to offer, let me ask you this. Will you now retract your previous statements that Trump won Pennsylvania in the 2020 election, yes or no?
Oh, Senator, I traveled to Pennsylvania, and let me tell you what I saw firsthand.
Yes or
no? I didn't talk about California because I was not in California. I talked about...
Yes or no? Last time I'm going to ask.
I talked about Pennsylvania because I was there.
I'm going to move on because she's clearly not answering my questions. And I want to know, colleagues, for everybody, members of the committee and everybody watching, that the attorney who stood beside Mr. Giuliani was making very similar statements. And he has since been disbarred from multiple jurisdictions for making these false claims about the 2020 election in court. And like Mr. Giuliani, as you've noted today, you've taken an oath to uphold the Constitution just as an attorney. And now you're asking us to consider you to serve as the chief law enforcement officer in our country. So it's imperative, Ms. Bondi, that you subscribe to facts and evidence and not politically convenient conspiracy theories. Your job will be, your job will be to protect voters and election workers, not to undermine and dox them. Now, I know that earlier you agreed that Joe Biden is in fact president, but many of the president-elect's inner circle continue to spread the big lie about the 2020 election. Then we'll move on to a different topic. 'Cause I know
Senator,
that's one
you were
that you're obviously
speaking.
not comfortable
May
with.
I speak? You
When
cut
I
me
ask
off
you the
when I
next
was
question,
speaking.
you can speak, and I hope you answer, Ms. Bondi.
Well, I'd
now,
like
when
to
we met
answer the
yesterday,
previous one, Senator.
when we met yesterday,
You pointed your finger at me and
you
said
did not
you were
seem to
speaking.
be familiar
Let me answer
with
my question.
the
I'm not going to be
Citizenship
bullied by you,
Clause, the
Senator
14th
Padilla.
Amendment of the United States of America, which was deeply disappointing.
I guess you
And I'm
didn't want to
hoping you're
hear
more
my
familiar
answer
with it
about
today
Pennsylvania.
after I gave an opportunity to study overnight. So can you tell me and this committee what the Citizenship Clause of the 14th Amendment says?
Senator, I'm here to answer your questions. I'm not here to do your homework and study for you. If I am
Oh,
confirmed
no,
as
you're
Attorney
the one
General.
asking for a confirmation
Hey,
vote,
you
ma'am.
cut me off. Can I please finish?
What does the 14th Amendment say?
Senator, the 14th Amendment, we all know, addresses birthright citizenship. I've been a state prosecutor. I've been a state AG. I look forward to, even given your remarks today, working with you and the people of California if I am confirmed as the 87th Attorney General of the United States of America. I didn't take your homework assignment. I'm sorry. I was preparing for today.
So on the 14th Amendment, now you've testified repeatedly to this committee that you will uphold the laws of this country and defend the Constitution of the United States. Do you believe birthright citizenship is the law of the land, and will you defend it regardless of a child born in the United States, regardless of their parents' immigration status?
Senator, I will study birthright citizenship. I would love to meet with you regarding
Ma'am, you're
birthright
asking us to
citizenship. Can I
continue
answer
to
the
serve as the
question?
Attorney General of the United States, and you still need to study the 14th Amendment of the Constitution? That is not helping me have more confidence in your ability to do this job. One other immigration-related question, I'll steer clear of the
I have
Constitution
one
and the
regarding
law.
that I'd like to
Senator
talk about.
Hirona asked you earlier, but I don't think you answered her question. Can you please tell us, do you agree with the statement that immigrants are, quote, poisoning the blood of our country, yes or no?
I did not say that.
I did not say that you said that. I'm asking if you agree with it, yes or no?
I did not say that.
Do you agree with it, yes or no?
Senator, my great-grandparents are immigrants.
Do you agree with it,
They
yes or no?
came here from Sicily
Do you agree
through
with it,
Ellis
yes or
Island
no?
when they were teenagers.
Do you agree with it, yes or no?
Senator, let me answer the question.
Yes or no? It's
My
real simple.
great-grandparents came here, immigrated to this country from Sicily, recently went and found each of their birth certificates. We are a nation made up of immigrants. Do I believe immigrants are poisoning our country? No, Senator.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chair, I can't wait for the second round.
Same, Senator. Thank you. No, sir. Thank you.
Before we go further, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you do not miss our in-depth breakdowns of the hearings shaping the future of government. At the center of this exchange is Pam Bondi, a longtime ally of Donald Trump, now facing questions about whether she could truly operate as an independent attorney general. The senator opened by grounding the discussion in a critical fact often glossed over in political debates. The 34 criminal convictions against Trump were handed down by a jury, not political opponents, not the media, but ordinary citizens. That framing matters because it sets the tone for what follows, a test of whether Bondi is willing to separate loyalty to a person from loyalty to the rule of law. If you want clear explanations like this that go beyond the sound bites, hit subscribe now. The questioning quickly moved to the 2020 election, specifically Bondi's role in spreading claims that Trump had won Pennsylvania before the votes were fully counted. This is not a minor footnote. Pennsylvania was one of the decisive states in the election, and at the time, Bondi appeared alongside Rudy Giuliani, asserting victory even though more than 1 million ballots were still outstanding. Eventually, Joe Biden won the state by over 80,000 votes, a margin confirmed by recounts, audits, and court rulings. Understanding this context is key, so if you value fact-based political analysis, make sure you subscribe. Here is where the exchange becomes especially instructive. The senator did not ask a complicated or theoretical question. He asked a simple one. Do you have evidence of widespread fraud or irregularities in the 2020 election? Yes or no? This matters because in a courtroom, and especially in the Justice Department, evidence is everything. Claims without evidence are not just opinions, they can undermine public trust in democratic institutions. If you want us to keep breaking down moments like this in plain language, subscribe to the channel. Bondi's response is telling, not for what she said, but for what she avoided. Instead of answering yes or no, she shifted to expressions of sympathy about unrelated crises and then returned to describing her travel to Pennsylvania. This is a classic deflection technique, often seen in high-stakes hearings. When a witness cannot answer directly, it signals either that the evidence does not exist or that acknowledging that fact would be politically damaging. Viewers should understand that in legal settings, refusing to answer a yes or no question is itself an answer. For more insights like this, do not forget to subscribe. The senator then tightened the focus even further. If you have no evidence, will you retract your previous statements that Trump won Pennsylvania? Again, this is not about partisan preference. It is about correcting the public record. Retractions matter in law and in journalism because they acknowledge error and restore factual accuracy. Bondi once again avoided a direct response, pivoting to anecdotal observations rather than verifiable proof. This distinction between personal impressions and admissible evidence is something every citizen should understand. Subscribe if you want more educational breakdowns that help you spot these differences in real time. What viewers may not realize is that dozens of courts, including judges appointed by Republicans and Trump himself, reviewed these fraud claims after the election. None found evidence sufficient to overturn results. When someone seeking to lead the Department of Justice cannot clearly acknowledge that reality, it raises serious questions about how they would handle future investigations involving political allies. This is why hearings like this matter. They are not theater. They are stress tests for democratic norms. Make sure you subscribe so you stay informed as these confirmations continue. In the end, this exchange was not just about Pam Bondi or the 2020 election. It was about whether truth, evidence, and independence still serve as non-negotiable standards for the nation's top law enforcement official. The refusal to give clear answers leaves voters with more questions than reassurance. And that is exactly why we break these moments down for you, so you can see not just what was said, but what it means. Subscribe to the channel for continued coverage, deeper context, and clearer explanations of the political moments shaping our future.